All right, so we are back after that unfortunate event, just getting kicked out of the Zoom. But uh but anyway, so we were talking about Jenna Soto and Smithtown East. So Jenna Soto, of course, like going to Northwestern, you gotta figure like she's their featured player offensively at attack. But again, this Smithtown East team, they're playing with a mixture of kids from different programs. So definitely be sure to expect a big winter from again players like Caitlin Barnes, Jaden Perano, Sophie Conti, defender Carly Mullins, also from Islip. So this team is going to be an interesting watch, just seeing how these players play together, considering they're from different programs.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'm very excited to see Caitlin Barnes play. I think she's one of the top 26s coming off the island. So
Mhm.
I love watching her play. And a lot of times schools they can't get enough interest, so it gives these girls an opportunity. We'll be talking about a free agent team that we put together, later on, and there's some real super high talented kids playing on that team. So we'll get into it. So to go to the 9:15 matchup, which is going to be Bayport's JV against Ward Melville's JV. That's a young gun matchup. Every one of these kids are young guns. We've seen a bunch of them, in the club circuit. I'll let you talk about the young ladies. Not as much the Ward Melville JV kids, but the Bayport JV kids.
Yeah, because Bayport, they're a program that they have so much depth. So it's like we got to see we got to see a good amount of their JV team last year. And one of the players that I think you and I both liked, Wink, from their JV team last year was Olivia Brady. That was a player that I think she really stepped up and kind of showed out last winter. And I would definitely expect more of the same again. But like some of their other players that they're bringing into this JV roster that we also saw last year, players like Eva Carvalho, that's another name from last season. Also actually one player that I got to see and you did as well, and this was going back to the fall league that we did last year. How about on Legacy, Kaylin Aiello?
Yeah, you see her brother ripping it up, winning the LIC.
Yes, I saw that. Back to back LICs for the Bayport football team.
That was pretty cool, man. And it was the JJ Aiello show 2 years ago, and it was the
Mhm.
Danny Aiello show this year.
Yeah,
It was pretty cool.
yeah, that
And they
they
say Kaylin might be the best athlete of all three.
that's a scary proposition considering I mean the Aiello brothers, like great athletes in their own right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Kaylin's a tough little lefty, getting picked on by her big brothers their whole life. I'm sure she doesn't back down to too much.
Yeah,
And little Bruckner. I see little
that's
Bruckner,
right.
little, you know,
Yep.
the Bruckner name. You'll on the Bayport varsity. She was a sophomore last year. Didn't get a lot of time in the state championship team, but the little one, Cameron, we've seen that little bowling ball run over a few people on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how these girls progress. And there's a little Wybrecht. Remember
I
Maddie
know.
Wybrecht, who's at JM? Would you go to JMU?
Yeah, JMU.
There's Peyton Wybrecht. I got to see their little brother, who's like what's he, a 2030? He's a lefty
Oh,
goalie.
I yeah, we were there. That was at the Columbus Day showcase at Sousa.
He's good, that little guy. He's a good little
Yeah.
lefty goalie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess the Wybrecht big lacrosse family in Bayport. So it's exciting. It's exciting to see, because obviously everybody knows the big names in Bayport, and it's the same thing about Ward Melville. I mean, they just keep retooling these communities. Look at all these kids. I'm looking at all these kids, and I'm looking at some of the names. I see a name on Ward Melville, who you'll remember this name, Ellie Spidell. Who do you
Oh,
think she's related to?
yeah. We know the Spidell name, of course. Jack Spidell, the former St. Anthony's Friar.
Absolutely. I knew they lived in Setauket. And they got a bunch of kids on their roster. I know the Feldman name. I'm looking at some of these Perosi. There's a couple of, I mean, it's good that Coach Paragallo and Coach Gick, that they're so involved in their community that they can tap into these young kids to, to nurture them and to develop them. I think it's vital to be successful to build programs, because especially the high level programs, because if you run, certain things, if you teach it at a young level, it's second nature by the time they're on the varsity.
Yep.
It's cool. So that's your 9:15 game. And then we go to 10 o'clock and the varsity for Ward Melville. This is going to be a good game. They play Sacred Heart from Nassau.
This could be the sneaky game of the day.
Yeah. This is a good one.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups where in all likelihood you would only get it in the winter league. So, it'll be
true.
It'll be really interesting to see just how does Ward Melville look. Of course, they got their eyes set on trying to win that LIC and that state championship. So
they got to get out of Suffolk, though.
I know. I know.
I tell you, they ran into the Ava Surrey.
Yeah, the Ava Arceri Jenna Soto show last year.
Oh boy, I'm sure Coach Paragallo. I'm sure these girls are foaming at the mouth to get back on the field. Yeah,
no doubt. And this is another talented team. We could talk about their attack. I think their attack unit, between Spinks and Mulham and Balaka, those are three of the top attackers you can get on a team as a trio.
I'm looking at this roster. Every kid is a Division I kid.
I know.
I mean, they have some 27s, Quinlan Helbron and Aaliyah Leonard, who are two of the best 27s on the island. But those two kids are, if they keep progressing, they're going to be Division I kids. Mia Modica, that girl's a 26. She's an excellent midi attacker. Peyton Phillips, who's going to Penn. Simonton, who's going to Nova. Timpanera, she's going to Rhode Island. I love MJ Timpanera. She's one of those gritty players. She's a difference maker on the circle.
100%. We saw it firsthand. Well, unfortunately, you were not there, but I saw it firsthand in the that regular season game against Northport last spring. I
see you got Katie Spinks, the Retzlaff sisters, but Grace Balaka, and then in the net, they got a stud in the net named Ava Carrillo.
Yep, Ava Carrillo. Yep, absolutely.
And Comerford, another Penn girl. They have two Penn defenders. Penn's been a top Ivy for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ava Folkman, another excellent defender. I mean, this is a loaded roster. And then you go down to Sacred Heart. I mean, you can go through that roster. You know all these kids.
Hey, now don't sleep on Sacred Heart. I know you're not, but they took St. Anthony's to the brink in that championship game last spring. So don't sleep on them. I mean, you got Kaylee Fravert, she's going to USC. She's another one. She can absolutely fly from the midfield. But you got Elizabeth Darcy, you got Charlotte Brown going to Ohio State. They have some players. This
Flaherty,
team.
the 25. Where'd she end up? Virginia?
Yeah, that's right.
Flaherty,
yeah.
Is that where Flaherty decided to go?
Yeah. Katie Flaherty's going to UVA.
Amazing. And then I'm looking at on this. You got Caitlin Cole, the defender, going to BC, Boston College.
Yeah, you got Caitlin Cole. You also have Rosalie Hafner on that defense as well.
Yeah, this is a roster, a very, very solid roster. I think this is the game. This is the game. Ward Melville better be ready to play, because I'm sure Sacred Heart will be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our 10 o'clock game. So this is our fifth game of the day. Wow. And then the Garden City bus shows up for the 10:45 game. We have two Garden City teams in the league. We have the varsity from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the tradition team, which is 25s and 26s. Some of the players played varsity, but most of them were JV players last year that will probably be up on the varsity this year. I mean, everybody knows Garden City's amazing tradition. So obviously the name of their club is obviously a smart name. I mean, that it's unbelievable the amount of talent that is in one town.
Yeah, it truly is hard to believe. And this is like over generations. This isn't like something that like just became a thing. This has been the standard there for quite some time.
Do you
But
think you have to show your lacrosse resume in order to purchase a home in Garden City?
that would not surprise me.
Okay,
That
so where'd you play lacrosse? Oh, you didn't? Oh, you can't live here.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. We have other offers.
You're gonna have to go over there because this town you can only play. And the funny thing is, people don't realize, but back in the day, there were years that their baseball team won when their lacrosse team won.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back in the day, I mean, going back a long time. Now, not as much now, but back in the day. And we're looking at. I'm just looking at the names. You got Staube's little sister,
Hmm.
Brendan Staub, who's killing it at Cornell. On the tradition team, Malgano, Monaco, Lynch, Horn, Hegarty, Gettleman,
O'Hanlon.
Borzilleri, Ellie
Yep.
Anderson, who I thought Ellie Anderson was probably one of the breakout players of last summer. Like the 25s to me that were most improved, the two 25s on Long Island were Ellie Anderson and Ryan Reynolds from Cold Spring Harbor. Those
Hmm.
two kids were probably the most improved 25s I saw last year. And then they battle. They're opening up with Connetquot, and don't sleep on this crew.
Yeah, that's another team that you don't want to sleep on. They have some good players as well, and got to see them a couple of times last season in the spring. And I mean, how about Jamie Elliott? Think
Has she decided where she's going yet?
I don't actually know off the top of my head.
For some reason, she's an awesome player. I'm not sure where she's going. I'm googling. I'm going in Jamie Elliott.
Ah, that's right. She's going to Bing.
Jesus, Binghamton killed it on Long Island.
Yeah, they got a good amount of 25s. They did.
I don't know how many did they get. I mean, in our top 50, they had to get like 6 kids.
Yeah, they got her, they got Lily Graves, they got Bella Sandoval, they got
That's the Wantor kid.
yeah,
I heard she's awesome. I mean, I was talking to one of the St. Anthony assistant coaches, and they played them in a club game, and he said that they were awesome. She was awesome, Sandoval.
yeah, they got Peyton McNulty from St. Anthony's.
I tell you, Binghamton's doing a good job. With Stony Brook out of that league, looks like it's going to be Albany and Binghamton fighting for that championship. Let's not forget about some of these upperclassmen. Jenna Zachman on this Connecticut roster.
Mhm.
And then I'm looking at the young gun lineman. She's only an 8th grader.
Yeah, and she was on their varsity team last season.
Yeah, she's a top player. She's one of the top 8th graders on the island.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's very good. It's gonna be interesting to see a club team against a high school team. I'm very curious to see how this game shakes up. And then the next game is the Garden City varsity, which is the 11:30 game, and they're playing YJ Torre Mitchell, which is a Yellow Jackets 2016, who's loaded. That roster's loaded. I think
Yeah.
that's the game in my opinion, that's the game of the day talent wise. Because
Hmm.
I think GC is going to be very good this year at the high school level.
Oh, absolutely. They're going to be right there again, fighting for an LIC and a state championship.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their roster. Their roster reminds me a lot of the roster I was looking at earlier from Ward Melville. Every kid on this roster is like a Division I kid, and they got some of the kid Reagan Backer's a top 26. Marina
Yep.
Rent, who's going to Florida. I mean, Fennell, who's now going to Northwestern, who's a absolute freak show at the attack.
You got Ottomanelli going.
Ottomanelli's going to Harvard, Overbeck
Harvard.
at Duke. Pfaff at Yale. Jesus. This roster's loaded. And they're playing a group of basically an all-star team, which has
super sophomores.
Yeah, all super softs. And this team's loaded with Comsewoge kids, McCrary, who I love, McNulty, who we talked about. No, we talked about Peyton McNulty, Gianna McNulty. She's the lefty from Comsewoge. Maribella Marciano, the goaltender, who's excellent. I mean, this is an all-star team. Sarah Richard from Olivia Romeo, who I coached last year, Sinai. Slattery, another kid who's a stud defender. Zillis, who's a St. Anthony midi.
Madison Sussy, Meadow Zillis.
Madison Sussy, excellent attackman. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be club against high school. You would think that the high school will be a little bit more in sync, but the club, they're coming off their club season in the high school. A lot of these girls were playing field hockey. Very curious to see how that all shakes up. Wonder if they've been practicing. Because I know Coach Ettinger was a little busy till last weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Third straight LIC.
Yeah, he was too busy winning an LIC in football.
Crazy, man. That's so
40,
nice to see.
42 straight wins, I believe.
It's amazing. And they lost their best player the week before. Next man up.
That's exactly what it is. But it's hard to live by that though if you don't have depth, but that's not an issue.
Obviously they do. They had the Kiskaden kid stepped in at 144 yards.
Yeah, depth is not an issue in that town.
Meanwhile, the Giants and Jets get an injury and they're 2-8 and whatever the hell they are.
They forget
City just wins another Long Island championship.
Forget how to play football.
What do you think? You think the Giants and Jets should hire Dave Ettinger as a coach? I think that'd be a good move.
I will say this, as a Giants fan, I believe in Brian Daboll. I believe in Joe Shane, but the Jets, I don't know. They got some problems going on over there. Those guys haven't proven anything. So
I think we start a Dave Ettinger, somehow get his name in the mix for NFL jobs.
Hey, we can try and do that, but
you could coach when you could play in the state championship in girls lacrosse and then play for a third straight Long Island championship in football and win 42 straight games. Dave's just a coach. Period. End of the story.
Look, I don't want to have any problems though with the Garden City girls lacrosse team because they got something going right now. I don't know if they want to lose that man.
Yeah, I don't think Johnson and Johnson is smart enough to get a guy like Dave Ettinger. Oh, we go back to back the next game, right? We got Shoreham and Comsewoge. I'm looking at so a lot of the girls are good that were playing for the YJ Mitchell Torre team are on this team. So
yeah, look at a little double dip.
Yeah, that's good for you, man. You'll get to see because I think Comsewoge has three of the top 26s on the island in McCrary, McNulty, and Callender.
Mm-hmm.
I think those three kids are beasts. So I've been talking them up already to college coaches when I talk to them. I said, you got to see these three 26s there. They can play. They're good. Comsewoge, I mean, obviously Comsewoge underperformed last year. Would you agree that they didn't meet the level that you thought they'd be at last year?
I would agree with that. I would. Considering they were in the county final the year before and probably should have won that game. So
you're talking about the West Hampton game, right?
Yeah. So to not even get back to that point last season, I would say they underperformed, but it'll be interesting now considering the players that graduated from that program last year, like DC and Constant. Like now, this is a chance for those young guns that we had seen over the last couple seasons. Now it's kind of like on them to step up and like be the ones to take this program back to where they ultimately want to get to.
Yeah, I agree with you. And they're going to be playing against a young Shoreham team that has arguably one of the best freshmen I've seen. I would say she's one of the best freshmen in the country.
Talking Maddie Her.
Oh my God. She looks like she's shot out of a cannon when she plays lacrosse. She's one of the fastest kids. We got to give her. We might have to call her the Lamborghini, right?
So Katie Claire was the Maserati, and Maddie Her is now the Lamborghini.
Yeah, I think so because I can't take you can't share nicknames.
No, of course not.
But they got some good young guns. We got Macario and Kitchen, the two, obviously 225s that are now committed. I'm looking at who else on
You
this
got
roster.
you got the Keegan sisters.
Yeah, one of them's injured though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Both really good 26s. Yeah, but both really good hoopers too. Multi-sport athletes, which I love to see. Yeah, I'm curious to see who's going to play goaltending in the goal for them. I'd love to see Cheeto come over from the boys' side and play the Navy commit and play with the girls and give these girls a stopper. I don't know who's playing goaltender. I know Gian Greco's a goalie. I'm not sure who's going to step up and be their goaltender, but I know they got some good talent. They got Morgan Lesowitz, excuse me, Madison Pylock. So it's curious. I would imagine I'd have to give the edge in this one to Comsewoge in the 12-15 game. I'm curious to see how that all shakes up. Then we get to 1 o'clock and we start seeing the St. Anthony crew. There's 4 St. Anthony teams in the league. 4.
Yeah, that's just like you can't. It's so just remarkable the amount of talent that just continues to flock to that program. Like they don't call it the Mecca for nothing.
Well, they have 1 JV team and 3 varsity teams. Their JV team are all freshmen. So obviously they don't know these kids yet. I'm sure they're starting to get to know them. They're going to be playing against arguably one of the better 29 club teams in YJ Friedman. So it's very curious to see. I know some of these 27 names because I've seen them on the circuit in the club circuit. I'm just looking through the names
Same
now.
here.
I know Jackie Galley. She's a defender. Lillian May, midfielder. Esty Mios, midfielder. Maggie Moore, defender. Katie Paul, very good attacker. Cassie Rhodes, defender. Sierra Rippey, one of the top defenders coming out of Sierra Rippey's a Huntington kid, a South Huntington kid. Sophie Russo, who's a really good midi defender. So those are the freshmen. And then the Friedman team, I mean, these are some of the top kids in the 7th grade class. You know these kids better than me. I know Sarah Pacey, that's Amanda's cousin.
Yeah,
Sarah
Pacey, Ella Shop, Natalie Takic, Samantha Lyons. This was a team, got to see them a couple times in the fall. But again, it's another one of those situations where it's just you just use it as an opportunity to get better. Look, you're going up against girls that are a couple years older than you, so it's going to take time. Of course, like you don't know how the game is going to transpire, but you just use it to see like where you stack up because ultimately you're going to be in that situation. So it's another one of those learning opportunities, I feel.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny too because all of these 9th graders that are St. Anthony kids, they I mean, some of them might play club together, but none of these kids have played as a team yet. While YJ Friedman's team has been playing together for 3 or 4 years.
That's the biggest advantage for that team going into this game.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very curious to see how that all works its way out. And then we jump into our 145 game. St. Anthony 2025s, which are basically the kids that are just starting to get recruited, right? Against ESM and Coach Becky Thorne, who arguably every year has some of the best defenders. And obviously we could start with when you have a really good defense, you usually have a really good goaltender.
Yep. They got the Joker.
The Joker is in the net. Ashley Langdon. He's going to Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, so, and that's really how you stay in games all the time. Like if you have a great goalie, then really it doesn't matter who you're going up against. Like you have a chance. you give yourselves a fighting chance pretty much every time.
Yeah, their two offensive, we'll call it powerhouses, are the Florida commit Luciano, right?
Yeah, Kalen.
And Emma McLean, the Loyola Greyhound.
Yep.
That's where their offense is going to start. I mean, they have other kids obviously that can play, but those are their two. We'll call them their studs. The Murtha kid's good, who's a freshman. There's two Murthas on the team. They got some. It's funny, you see a lot of younger sisters from girls that you knew in the past.
Right.
And then we move down. I'm looking at the 25s for St. A's. I mean, you got to. I guess you could start with Devin Lang, who's going to Princeton.
Yeah, Devin Lang, the midi going to Princeton. How about one of the best defenders in that class, Julia May?
Oh, she's
going to Hughes.
She's a beast. Hughes got 3 Long Island kids who are arguably 3. I would say that those 3 are in the top 10, you know, if you don't put positions. Spallina, Eisfeld, and O'Connor. Crazy, right?
I know.
I wonder if Joe had anything to do with that recruiting.
I would say so.
I would think so.
Just a little bit.
Then you got Catherine Rathjen. She's going to Fairfield, right? Toner's going to Lafayette.
Got Molly
Heine's going to Johns Hopkins.
Yep.
Jess Black's going to Army. I'm looking. McNulty, you said, was Binghamton, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you got like 6 or 7 Division I kids just out of this junior class for St. A's.
How about in the net with Jess Black?
Yeah. It looks like how many goaltenders they have on this roster? Oh, and Olivia Koch. So they have 2 goalies on this roster going up against. That's a good goalie matchup. Langdon, Black, and Koch in that game. I could see this game being like a 6-5 game.
I think that's how ESM would want the game to be.
100%. But I did see her play a 13-12 game last year, and I was busting Becky's horns about it. I've never seen her play a 13-12 game in all the years I've covered her. The next game is the St. Anthony Sophomores against the Cyclones, which is a predominantly Southside Nassau team. Not all. I mean, there's some. I mean,
no, they have some players kind of like Smithtown, Smithtown East. They have some. I like to call them loaners or rentals, but no, they're predominantly yes, it is Southside. So I guess we can start with them. You got Charlotte Rathjen, the midi going to UNC.
Dude, I love that kid.
Yeah, she I think she tore it up last spring.
She did.
Got to see her a few times.
She did. I remember covering her sisters at Brown. That Rathjen name is a big lacrosse name in the girls' community.
Yeah. How about Caitlin Haggerty?
Yes.
She was big in that that playoff game last spring against Seaford. That was a close game that we covered, the 4-5 game.
You know what's funny here? I'm looking at this roster right now, and you got Sienna Connolly, who's a top 4 defender on the island in 25 class. I know the President's Cup, she blew up because I've gotten more texts. Right? How many texts have we gotten about Sienna Connolly? And Sienna Fox, she's going to Binghamton. She's a Port girl, right?
Yep.
Who else is a Morgan Harloff, we know?
Yeah, she's from there though.
Where's she going? I know she's going somewhere.
She's going to Stony Brook, I believe.
Nice.
Paige
Selhorn's going to Cincinnati. She's a call place girl, right?
Yeah, she's from CP. They got Seglia in the net from Syosset.
And Kayla Van Cott, who is under the radar, coming off a knee injury from 2 years ago. She was at Locust Valley. Now she's at North Shore. I believe is she going to the University of Chicago?
Yes, that's correct.
Dude, do you know how hard it is to get into the University of Chicago?
Dude, you're telling me. My best friend goes to law school there.
Oh, he must be a genius.
Yeah, he is.
Dude, that school is like, if you have less than 100, you don't even apply.
No, don't even waste your time.
And it doesn't matter. And they made the playoffs. They're brand new. They're like, I think the program's 6 years old, and they made the playoffs in girls lacrosse. That's how good they're getting. And they're getting really good kids off the island. And it's a beautiful school. I've been there. It's gorgeous. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad. I really like. I love when I see these kids. Who else is going there? There's another Long Island kid who's a really good player. The kid who got hurt from Manhasset. She's not playing because she tore her knee in her senior year. Siamis.
Oh, CM's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's going there also, which I thought was really, really cool when I was looking at it. I think shout out to the University of Chicago, and whatever you're doing there, coach, you're killing it. Good job. We didn't go over the St. Anthony 26s. Did I miss them?
Oh no, we got to get to them.
Oh boy, there's some good ones there. No,
Absolutely. That another team where it's like where do you begin?
let's start on the defense because I think she's the best defender on the island.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
God,
Sophia Novelli.
that's right. That girl can cover
Big time. Like
she's a shutdown corner, as they say in football.
yeah, I remember seeing her at the Excelsior games. This was 2 years ago. And I was sitting there and it's freaking like 98 degrees and like she's doing everything. Like she's on the circle, she's playing defense, she's switching sticks, going back and forth. I'm just like, wow, like that's super impressive.
And I just came up with a new nickname for her,
Let me hear it.
and I know you're gonna love it. Who's the best shutdown corner in New York?
Oh, you're talking about Sauce?
Yeah, that's Sauce Novelli. Come on, doesn't that fit it?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. And right above her is arguably the best goaltender in the class,
Oh yeah.
Mashita.
That's my number one.
She could stop the ball, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they got some. St. Anthony's got a lot of riches in this class. I'm looking at the names here of the kids. I mean, right there you got arguably the best goalie and arguably the best defender. Right below is Pascalone, who's another excellent defender. I love the kid Pupke. She's going to get on people's radars this year. The kid Cameron Pupke. I saw her at the tryouts for the Excelsior games 2 years ago. She's excellent. Emma Speed, the lefty. She's a Wonton girl.
Yeah, she was on varsity last year.
She's excellent. Excellent. If that girl plays off ball this year and plays the right way with Tess Calabria, she'll have 50 goals coming playing off Tess.
Whew.
Maddie Sussy, who we talked about earlier, was playing for that club team, excellent attacker. Meadow Zillis, excellent midfielder. I'm just looking at these girls up here.
You know who I like also? Noelle Meenan, the midi.
Who?
Noelle Meenan.
Yes. She was one of the top on their freshman team last year, on St. A's freshman team. Yeah. So this should be an interesting game. I think this will be a good game too. That's the 2:30 game. We have 5 minutes left in this pop, so we could go to one more matchup. I promise I won't go over this time. We got the last St. Anthony team of the day, and it's their seniors. Oh God, wait till you hear about these kids.
Got it.
Playing Smithtown West. And Smithtown West got some dudes too. Let's start with Smithtown West, and then we'll hopefully we got 5 minutes to talk about it. Smithtown West, we got, well, Alyssa Lorifus, top attacker in the 26th class. Bella Marciano, another top kid. The Manella sisters, which they just keep producing stud lacrosse players. Are they all going to Hofstra?
Well, you got two of them are at Hofstra.
There's two more here, Ashley and Caitlin.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out soon enough. Ashley, of course, she's a 26.
They got a pipeline. They got the Rinkowski sisters. Jolie Schiavo, one of the top 25 middies.
James,
Julie's going to where? JMU?
yeah, James Madison.
And then you got the Theofeld sisters. Grace going to, where's she going? Bing?
Yeah, she's another one going to Binghamton.
And Kate's going to Rutgers.
Yep.
Great stuff. This is a good little squad. This is Chen's squad. Chen's did a good job last year. With Chen's lost in the finals last year?
Yeah, they lost in the county final to West Islip, only by 2 goals. I think this could be their year. I'm feeling it. I might as well.
Are you riding the Smithtown West bull wagon?
I'm on the wagon. I'm fully on the wagon.
Really? I'm not jumping off West Islip until they lose.
That's fair. I'm gonna hop on the bull wagon though.
Because I thought West Islip was 1 year early last year. So I thought I didn't think it was that last year was their year. I thought this year was going to be their year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about them, but they're not in the league, but I like that team a lot. Now we're on to the 24s from St. A's. I'll let you talk about this crew of absolute superstars.
Yeah, this team is loaded in all caps. Like, what else is there to say? Of course, you got Tess Calabria going to UNC, the midi / attacker. Got Megan Kenny going to Maryland, arguably the fastest player on Long Island in girls lacrosse. I believe she also does winter track, so that kind of checks out. But the thing that I'm kind of most looking forward to be honest, like seeing this St. Anthony's team, is that they have so many kids, and like kids that were on varsity that like didn't even really play, but like that's not happening in this league. Like, I mean, players like Emmy Hogan, she's going to Hopkins. Like she can play.
And Holly Hardwick.
Yeah, Holly Hardwick going to Holy Cross.
And
she's another one that can play. You got Binkus going to USF.
Ambrosi, the defender, she's going to Trinity.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget Amanda Pacey going to Duke, the best defender in that class with Overbeck.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Brooke Long, who's going to Penn State.
Yep.
I mean, listen to the schools. Maddie Morris, another USF defender. Stella Quilty going to Rutgers. Their goaltenders are Rutgers and Carolina. They're Big Ten ACC goaltenders. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I remember Stella Quilty, what she did last year in the Winter League, like in those playoff games, like I stand by that. That was the best like goalie performance that I've seen like in that Winter League.
We didn't even mention Riley Zussi
going to Florida.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we're naming top 10, 15 programs, and it's a senior class out of a high school.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. Well, they're under the new tutelage of Darcy Messina, who was a Florida commit, who grew up in Sayville, went to St. Anthony's. You might know that name, Messina from Sayville. It's a pretty big name. She's going to be taking over the program. So excited to see what Darcy's got going and getting these kids motivated. But I got to tell you something. We're coming out of it and we're going to come back, but that was game 12. We have 10 more games to discuss, and I will let Ellis send me a link and we'll start in with the next group as soon as Ellis sends me the next link.
All right, let's do it.